Hello everyone and welcome back to another weekly altered video. Today we've got Nevenka and Blotch, a little bit of a last hurrah for the standard format because Equinox announced that on BGA, Singleton and no unique formats are out. So trying to theory craft for those, couple of challenges, so thought we'd play one deck that we had locked in the vault for a little while. Nevenka and Blotch got old videos on that one, so you can see what she does. We've gone over it a few times. Roll a die, do a thing. Couple of ways to mitigate that. Not all in on mitigation, but a few ways to take advantage as well, which we like to see. The characters are pretty standard. 6/1 drops in the Bassist and the Martingales. Martingale is the MVP of the deck, I would argue. Big fan of that one. A lot of 2 drops. We'll get back to the uniques in a little bit, but Daedalus works really well with exactly 2 of those, and then Tanukis for Sabotage and the Heiresses. So if you can advance with her, move forward twice, will be cool to see if we can get it done during our 3 games. The only notable things, I think, in the character spots is that we're only running 2 copies of the rare Mage Dancer. Normally we'd have the 3, but we do have the unique here. We'll revisit him. And then 2 ink casters as well, when you could reasonably play 3. The spells are a bit more exciting. Using up a few rare slots for those. A lot of it's standard. 2 Twinkle Twinkles at common, 2 Lyra Signets, because we tried to find space to test out a couple of cards. So let's see if the rare Lyra Signets and Twinkle Twinkles can do anything good. Thought they were good. Also looked at Off You Go in those slots. Would be standard. Looks pretty good, but it meant that we needed more ways to remove characters. So we're trying out Break the Ice as well. Obviously, Off You Go is a little bit more consistent from hand if you've got any ways to recur it, which we do with the ink casters and one of our uniques, but it also costs rare slots, and we didn't have them. So we're playing 3 of those, see if we can actually get to play any of them. The only character that we have that triggers it on its own is the Tricksters. So obviously that's going to be really good if you've got one of them in hand. A lot of other 0 statistics as well. So 2, 5, 6, 9, 10, 13, 16, 17, 20. 20 things that contribute to it. Only 4 that add 2, so we're going to have a lot of creatures out for that to be good. So maybe a late game option, but as long as they're not playing any sort of toughness, we should be able to hit bigger things than the Off You Goes can. So there is a trade-off there. Rare Lyra Signets, choose 2 of the regular Lyra Signets effect. So 2 things get fleeting, draw a card, roll a die, resupply. Target character gains a boost per card in your reserve. Works really well with the roll a die uniques that we have, and Twinkle Twinkle gets around tough, so we do have outs, and it is our chosen form of mass removal as well. Hopefully we can play that somewhere. Alright, the uniques. Last thing we're going to do before we jump into the games. A 1-drop Studious Disciple. When you roll 1 or more dice, if you have 1 or more boosts, return a card from reserve to hand. Obviously, Nevenka is a permanent way to access that. She rolls a die, gives him a boost if you get the 2 to 5, so 2 in 3 chance. And then he can bounce something as well. If you've got any characters in reserve or any of your cards that don't have fleeting, goes off, but absolutely runs nuts with Daedalus as well. So 1 mana in, play the Daedalus, scout it for 1, send it to reserve, roll the die, give it a boost. You don't care if Daedalus gets a boost because you could just bounce him back. So however much mana you have available after you play the Disciple is how many boosts you can put on him with the Daedalus. Mad Loop if they can't remove it. Disappointing if they do. Gets hit by pretty much everything. The Mage Dancer also plays well with Daedalus. So rolls a die when you play it, costs you an extra one, but it gets the boosts. And then when you roll one or more dice, which you do when you play him, get a boost per card in your reserve. Obviously, mad with Lyra Signet at common. Anything else you've got in reserve contributes to that, but also Daedalus. So scout the Daedalus, put it in reserve, roll a die, give him a boost, get an extra boost because the Daedalus itself is in reserve. So can get out of hand quickly, might be a way to flip some expeditions if we get it. And then the last one is a Cloth Dancer. A bit more suspect at the moment. A lot of people running around with tough, so spindles, just generic tough creatures. Parliament of Ashes, one I always hate to see, but you can give a bunch of things fleeting on a turn when you roll your dice. So she'll roll a die herself at dusk, give something fleeting then. Roll a second die with Nevenka, so 2 things can get fleeting, so it's actually possible to just rip their hand if they play 2 characters on turn 1. If you have her, love to see it. Would like to do that at least once. And that's the deck. We're basically just trying to get to a point where we can take a 2 for nothing, get ahead, stay ahead. Obviously a little bit of decision making when it comes to our 0 power statistics, because we have a lot of those, but you know, plenty of ways to give boosts, and they boost in every expedition. So figured we're going to have to get lucky anyway with the dice rolling, so we may as well try and get lucky with the expeditions that we jump to and what cards we have in hand. So going to be cool. This is a permanentless version of the list. There is a notable value engine between the Ouroboros and the Wayfarer, both of which are permanents. Maybe we'll feature that one again if this video does well, but we just chose to do something different with our slots. So the slots that they took up were the 2 ink casters, just as a, you know, we thought recursion would be better than card advantage, and then the Signet and Twinkle Twinkle. So if we played 2 each of those cards would be the ones that come out. Maybe we can cut a Daedalus, we'll see. Especially if we're doing that, because basically the only card that bounces stuff back is the Disciple. But it goes nuts. So we'd like to see that at least once too. A lot of things we'd like to see. A lot of 6s as well on our dice would be nice. And yeah, we'll go on from there. Alrighty, see you in game 1. And we're here with game 1 of our Nevenka and Blotch list, revised to roll more dice, have more fun doing that one. Maybe a bit of a farewell tour for standard construction, and we're against Sierra and Oddball. We've got Singleton to explore, as well as no uniques, so we'll probably do a bit of those. Alright, rough hand. Cloth Cocoon will be good against them later on. It's our one of 2 answers in the deck for Brassbug Hive, which will 100% be in their deck, so we kind of want to keep that. But it makes the rest of our hand a bit janky. Playing second here, maybe we're better off getting rid of the one of rare Twinkle Twinkle and the Eris. That's a bit of a later problem to try and think of. And Guitarist or Mage Dancer. I think we keep the Mage Dancer. If they drop a 3-drop permanent turn 1, we can at least contest with the Mage Dancer here, get the bassist out. Restocking Station. Don't like that for us. Sort of blanks our Lyra Signets throughout the game, because they can, unless we can trick him into doing the thing. We'll drop the Mage Dancer. So the Guitarist would have let us advance. Target the bassist here, which is kind of cool. 2 zeros is a little bit scary, because if we just advance into non-blue expeditions, we're kind of stuffed. Could have taken a 2 for nothing there, so we'll keep that in mind if we end up really close but not being able to get over the line. And there goes the other heiress. A little bit rough. That's a fun way to try and end a game a turn early. So none of those. I'm a bit sad, but we've got 2 more games to think about here. We'll drop the Mage Dancer on this side. Nothing to be gained by scouting the Daedalus. And they're just playing this little fella out. What does that mean for us? If we play out the Daedalus, target the bassist, we get a 1. And we've got a shot at blocking them here. I guess we'll target old mate with it. Not a 1. Dodge the 2 in a row. And pass the turn. Okay. Templar's a little scary. They'll play out another permanent next turn. Drop him the turn after. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to say goodbye to the Twinkle Twinkle here. And the way that our 0 stats are lined up, we're probably not going to be able to stop them from advancing on either side. So just going to have to try and maintain a lead. Twinkle Twinkle would be good there, but again, I am desperately hoping to hold on to this Cloth Cocoon. Get rid of the Daedalus for us. Can't advance on the other side no matter what we do, so we'll just try and go 1 for 1 here. What have you got left in hand? Could be another bug out bag. Free roll on the Nevenka and Blotch, and we do get the 6, pick the 7. 6-7, Zoomer's going nuts in the chat right now. But keeping the Martingale around next turn is actually pretty zesty. Obviously not a lot of stats to compete against what they have here. Actually think we want all of these cards. Aerolith Reef is scary, so we could cloth it because they'll be able to bounce something with the Templar. Or we can just say, you know, get your bug, go off king. Because the hand is not really set up to take advantage of the Disciple. I don't want to be behind on mana the whole game either, though. So Guess we'll just do that, that's fine. We haven't given up any card draw in our mana, but we also haven't seen any at all. So 3 magical trainings, bunch of Lyra signets. I guess we could have seen an extra card with the Keytarist. I don't actually remember what it is that we drew first on the turn after. Can't play around it. Cloth Cocoon does not have fleeting. Roll a 2 on the Nevenka. Pick a 3, doesn't matter. They'll be able to double block here. And they'll take a 2 for nothing and no, they won't quite even everything up. But at least we'll force them to play out the Puppeteer if they have it. Maybe we should have targeted the Disciple here. Keeps it out of reserve for the Sabotage, and losing a Martingale is a bit less rough. Now I think we pass because we've got 2 cost reducers here, so we can actually play out our whole hand if we use one of those. See what it is they want to get done. I would like to use the Signet to get rid of the fleeting with their restocking station, but I doubt we're going to get the opportunity. Draw a card, roll a die, second Cloth Cocoon, punished for not getting rid of that one. But that's cool. We won't have enough statistics for Break the Ice. And we've given them an opportunity to drop the fleeting off of the restocking station. So maybe Cloth Cocoon first there would have been good. Would have been rewarded had we played around it like that. But we are going to be behind here. We'll get rid of the Puppeteer. They gave us the opportunity by not removing the fleeting. We get to see what's in their hand. Free roll on the boost again. Roll a 6, keep it around. Love that for us. 6, 7. I'm sorry. But that's actually really good. If we need to, we can Signet again. Neither of our cards in hand go to reserve, so that's a bit unhappy. Break the Ice. We can't hit the reduced cost on the Break the Ice. I thought that would be a little bit more free, but that's alright. We have to keep the Cloth Cocoon for the bug. 8 mana is 6 plus 2. I'll drop out a second martingale. See what they want to do with that information. If they play out the foundry armor, I think we just hit it with the cloth cocoon. Don't give them the opportunity to give it fleeting. Get rid of him. Take away their target for the restocking station this turn. Drop an Inkcaster and see what they want to get done. What's your remaining card? Merlin. That's fine. This is a free roll. Hoping for a 5, I guess. We'll pick 3. And then pass. Taking a 1-for-1 here ain't too bad. No heiresses to look forward to. Although that's even better the more mana you have. Not impressed with that. They also kept all of their mana. They're going to have to play out the designer drone somehow. If they have sabotage, we're just flat out of creatures. Oh my god, trips! Alright, we can still play out another magical training. Drop the Martingale Lyra Signet to compete against whatever they want to do, and they're pretty low on mana when that happens. Can't play a Brass Bug Hive, so our cloth cocoons have been used effectively with no downside. Tanuki. Is that good? No, I doubt it. Foundry Mechanic. Play out the Martingale. What do you do with your remaining 1 mana? And we get a GG. I guess they don't have anything else to do. And they can see that we can double boost Nevenka for free. Although, if we hit a 6 exactly, yeah, we have a 1 in 6 chance of stuffing the game up here. No, we don't. No. We're literally just better off playing Magical Training and then Tanuki. Roll a 4, get the boost anyway. 5 in 6 chance there. Would have finished the game off. And I guess we just show off that we've got trips. Just got over the line there. Our opponent didn't see a brass bug, so I think we've dodged a little bit of heat. Although we tried to play around it with the cocoons, we were kind of forced to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't believe we played 3 magical trainings that turn. And we're done, on the board. Don't care what happens with the remaining 2 games. What did he play? Sierra. And we'll head on to game 2. See you there. And it's time for game 2 of Nevenka and Blotch. Let's see how we go. We're in an orchid. Our 0-drop creatures are going to be rough at keeping them off green, unless we are extraordinarily lucky, but maybe we just need to get extraordinarily lucky anyway. Okay, what do we got here? Basist, Break the Ice, Cloth Cocoon. That can deal with their anchored creatures. Break the Ice is possible to get reduced on turn 2 if we martingale bassist, but I don't think I want to do that. I'd rather look at cards. Still high hopes for this card. Not sure if it's worth it, but better in the late game, which is nice. And we should have close to perfect information when we play out martingale. Aloe vera. Or magical training. Got a 50-50 shot at advancing on the same side, but I don't think we're going to be that cheeky. It's actually not 50-50 because we'd need to win the 50-50 on the trickster and then get the 2/3 chance to gain a boost as well. So what's that? 2/3 times a half is 2/6. So we'd have a 33% chance of advancing, or we can take a 100% chance with a 33% chance of advancing. Keeping the martingale around, sorry. Quick maths. I don't know what to do. That's alright. We could theoretically Trickster Signet if we got rid of our martingale, but I really like that card. They're blue on both sides. They could play out the Druid as well. I'll just drop her. If they want a Requiem, it means they can't Aloe Vera. Bountiful Meadow. We'll Trickster here. Roll a 1, get a 2. Hate that for us. But it means we're entitled to a high roll next turn. And we're actually going to target the Trickster here. We roll a 6, get our anchored. The reason I did that is because if we'd gotten the boost, we actually would have stopped them advancing on green, which means they don't draw a card and reserve something. Which would have been nice. Would have liked that. Instead, they get to draw a card, put something in reserve. We don't get to we still wouldn't have gotten to advance, but we like getting rid of cards that our opponents have. This actually might be a game for Eris. Love that for us. What are we getting here? Confirm. Lyra Signet is good. That Skater is also good, unfortunately. But they're playing a plant. Demeter. 6/5/5. If she's in green, she's eternal. She will advance to green. Can we contest there? Potentially. Or we can block her. Blocking her is also good. Drop the Lyra Signet, first feature of the rare version. Draw a card, roll a die. Do we get something good? We do not. thoroughly disappointing. Get a 6. Oh my god. Ugh. If we'd gotten the boost there, Demeter would have actually disappeared. So these are, funnily enough, the two most disappointing 6s I have ever seen. Obviously, blocking them there would have been good. Would have liked that. I've got high hopes for Eris. 2, 3. So if we play out Martingale, Mage Dancer, Trickster, we can get a lot of stats on board, which would be nice. If they get rid of anything, you know, plan sort of goes to the dogs, but at least we can contest. Don't worry too much about the Persephone because we're going to have to be dealing with 3 anyway. We will play out the Martingale into the Cuckoo. If they have a sow, they get to it. We might still have a way to give it fleeting. Okay, so they'll go to 6. If we get a 2 here... Okay, we need it. 2/3 chance. Please help. Pick 7. Target the Mage Dancer, get a 3. Finally get a boost that we need. Happy about that. Pass the turn. Really feeling that anchored dice roll there. That was a bit of a rough one. Had we blocked there, they would have had to play her out again. At least she's got fleeting then. Twinkle Twinkle might be good. 1, 2. Get rid of the rare version here. And then what are we looking to achieve? They've got 5 mana. Play out the Martingale. See what they want to do with their remaining 3 mana. If it's a spindle, we're stuffed. What are you choosing? Choosing the Martingale. I'm okay with that. We'll sleep the Cuckoo. We'll sleep the Demeter. And then we will just raw dog the 2/3 chance. 4, 3. I'll take it. Looking pretty big over here. Not sure what we're going to do to stop him this turn unless we draw Summon Dace. I think we pass the turn here. I like the Incaster for later. Guess we just drop the Eris and they'll know if they can block us or not. Everything's tied, but they've got 6 more available mana. Roll a 4, they both get a boost. They got the Moon of Druid. Guess we high roll for the Anchored because it doesn't matter. Roll a 4, doesn't matter. Damn, it's still in green because we missed a 2/3 chance to beat her there. I'll stop harping on about it now. I'm not actually upset. They get to ramp. Had we put the Incaster in for mana, we'd have been able to play Eris Daedalus here. So we need a Twinkle Twinkle, maybe, and for them to play absolutely nothing out. I think we're done. We're cooked. Should have kept that. That's alright. No need to prolong it. We'll concede here. We know we can't compete on both sides. Well done to them. What were they playing? Rin and Orchid. Alright, on to game 3, 1-1. And it's time for game 3. Walked off, had a breather. Stopped thinking about 1 in 6 chances to not keep a creature around for a million turns. And we're up against Sigismar and Wingspan. What do we got here? Break the Ice is hard to trigger. I think if we had a... Yeah, I think if we had a Ouroboros Trickster instead of this bevy of 2-drops in front of us, we probably would have kept the Break the Ice for turn 2. And I believe the Guitarist and the Bassist are the worst ones to keep here. Get to see what they want to do. Field reinforcements. I think I like dropping the Disciple here and seeing what they want to do with the rest of their turn. They pass, Companion side the Incaster to win there. 2 and 3 shot to win here. Rolling a 1. That's alright, he goes back to hand anyway. A 2 for nothing here would have been huge, but wasn't meant to be. Put him back in hand, keep him around. The end result's the same, except we're an expedition behind where we could be, and they're an expedition ahead. Two Mage Dancers and Tricksters are both mad good. I guess we get rid of one of the mage dancers, diversify the options that we have. See what they want to accomplish. Might have been a good idea to play the disciple out on the hero side here, contest their blue only. So they've got a bit of an opening with the green on the companion side. Conjuring seal. Don't mind that. Roll a 2, gain a boost, see what they want to achieve. They've just drawn 2 cards, so they might have a 1-drop here. Foundry mechanic. I think it's better to trade 1 for 1 here, unless we roll another 1. Oh. Deafening silence there for a little while, just as I come to terms with my own mortality. But I suppose as lucky as we got in the first game, we needed to get a bit unlucky here to balance it out. Would have loved to keep him around for this turn. Foundry Mechanic's an interesting one because you wouldn't play that unless you had permanents to drop. So I'm thinking like monoliths or something like that are likely to come out. Does that make it worth a sabotage? I believe it does at the moment if they don't drop something straight away. Messick Tet. So we've got 2 mana left. Play out the Mage Dancer and see what they want to accomplish. Don't have anything for us to sabotage here, and if they want to play anything out, they're going to have to. So we've got a shot at a double advance here if they decide not to play anything. Found your mechanic. Side for the trickster. That's 3 1s this game. Three important ones. And we're going to target the Mage Dancer because we want to keep that around if we get a 6 and it still advances us. Love that for us. Sweet cosmic justice. All is right with the world. We've got first look at Tanukiing here. Doesn't really help that much. Rare Paper Herald's kind of cool. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to Tanuki away the Foundry Mechanic. So I don't want them having extra stats. And if they're planning on playing out a monolith here, I want them to only have the one creature left. Although they can play a 1-drop from hand and the Orders Recruit. From the support ability for the Paper Herald. Haven't seen that card in yonks. Orders Carrier. Does nothing this turn. We'll see where we're at. Draw a card, roll a die. Roll a 2, so no resupply. So this doesn't matter. Not the best showing for that, but that's alright. Still get a boost. Still see what they want to achieve. The Orders Trooper. We target the Mage Dancer here, so if they have a 2-drop in hand, they can block us if we only target the Tanuki. Now I don't know. So if they Paper Herald play a 2-drop, yeah, I don't like the idea of that. Please be something that gives... Okay. Okay, we made it. Now Recruit plus 2-drop can just turn it into a 1-for-1, which we're okay with because we're kind of just progressing. Teamwork Training is a bit of a blowout. But that's alright, we'll deal with that if it turns out to be the last card in their hand. They have seen extra cards with the Conjuring Seal. And one of us gets off the starter block on the side that was lagging behind. If they'd had removal, they would have played it there, so they get 2 looks at something else here. I wonder if it is an Order Spy. That's the card I'm thinking of right now. Trickster's good, boosts the Mage Dancer, Martingale makes all of that stuff safe again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we just keep a card in hand here? I kind of think we do. We're sort of out of options a little bit if they sabotage the Mage Dancer, so this means at least we've got something to do. Okay, no sabotage. Would be expecting something like that. I would wonder if they have removal as well. Teamwork Training is live. License Withdrawal will be live. We get a Frog Prince out of them. Magical Training and see what they want to accomplish. Bliss Guitarist isn't actually bad here. So we could Guitarist Trickster, boost something and see if we can get ahead that way. Teamwork Training still does it. We roll a 6 so we get the extra boosts. Start looking to contest, but they've got 2 mana for the world's most obvious removal spell ever. Nope, Foundry Mechanic instead. What do you got? If it is a third... Nope, they're out of Foundry Mechanics. Playing Ordis Troopers as well. Could be a Paper Herald. They're playing a lot of 1-drops. Oh my god. Can't believe it. Did it to him. Target the Kitaris. Please not a 1. It's a 2. We're okay with that. Pass turn. Love that for us. Double Martingale looks pretty zesty. We're in a tiebreaker. Okay, it's time. Heart of the cards, we're dreaming of our 1 of rare Twinkle Twinkle. I believe we are losing the stats race here. Probably should have kept the Kitarist over the Tanuki, considering that does nothing. 2, 3. 2 Martingales is safety, but magical training could be anything, even a Martingale. So we'll take it. That might be good. Let's see. We're running short on mana here, but they're running short on cards. We're 1 mana short of playing out Trickster, Break the Ice, and Daedalus. So we have to hope we get a decent roll here. And see what they want to do with their remaining mana. Please be a Ordis Carrier. If they have a... Ooh. Charge. They've got nothing else to do. That mass Twinkle Twinkle would have been pretty zesty here. But we can force a tiebreaker. So we're still going to double Daedalus here with the mana, because it means we secure the expedition, because we get 2 boosts on the Trickster. Although a 2 in 3 chance is quite tempting, we would have lost had we not done that. doing this means we get to keep... What's more important? I actually think the trickster is more important here. We roll a 2. Had we high rolled on the Nevenka thing and kept her anchored, we would have been pretty happy keeping a 4-4-4 in play for the tiebreaker. And then it's our however many cards against theirs. That's exciting. That's surprisingly exciting. We can't trigger break the ice here, so we're just going to have to hope for the best. They get a boatload of stats for free. Order Spy kills the Tanuki. We'll play the Martingale and see what their last card is. Orders Carrier. Okay, so we can do maths. We can probably do maths here. They are going to have... Oh, they're going to have 6 power, that's fine. No, we don't even need to do maths. We Daedalus, target Martingale. Roll a 4, which we love. Already have more than 6. And the Twinkle Twinkle did it. Look at us go. Oh my god. That's an absolute madness. Just in case we need to. We know we don't. We pass the turn. GG. Alright, there you go. 2 and 1. Beat Sigismar. Love that for us. And we'll go on to the debrief. See you there. That was mad. Heart of the cards. And it's bonus game time. So this game happened after I recorded the videos. Obviously wasn't set up to record. We were otherwise preoccupied and away from our computer, so it wasn't really an option. And we had replaced the rare copies of Lyra Signet and Twinkle Twinkle with Off You Goes. And the Break the Ices with a few other options as well. So 3 Twinkle Twinkles, 3 Lyra Signets, and probably something else changed as well to fit that in. Oh no, it's just, yeah, we're up those 2, got the Off You Goes, down the other ones. And we're off. We're playing against Taja and Nora. We've got a decision to make with our opening hand. And I think this game is worth playing anyway, because it shows how good Off You Go can be if you can recur it. Obviously got the Ink Casters as well, but Studious Disciple goes pretty nuts here. Decided to keep the magical training Off You Go and Disciple here. Don't need the recursion when we've got Ink Caster. When we've got the Disciple in hand, so we don't need the recursion from Ink Caster, Tanuki and Bliss Guitarist. Yeah, basically removal's better than Sabotage, and Guitarist is worse card advantage than Magical Training. So we get to see what our opponent does, and they give us an absolute gift here. They start with a Little Mouse, which is insane, because it gets hit by Off You Go. Obviously, on turn 1 everything gets hit by Off You Go that you can play, unless you've put like a 5-drop that reduces cost or something like that. They pass, we get our Disciple out for free and take a 1 for nothing, boost it, and bounce back the Off You Go. So they have to play around that for the rest of the game. Don't get to keep our disciple around. Disappointing. Not too stressed. Definitely worth advancing on the expedition. And then we draw 2 more cards when we start off. Daedalus and the Trickster. So we get rid of the Trickster because we have an opportunity to do the boost loop with Daedalus Disciple, which I don't think we got to do during the 3 regular games. And we make a little mistake. Why do we play out the Disciple on this side when we're only weak in green? No idea. Opponent gives us another gift. Plays the Spindle. Draw a Bliss Bassist. And we contend with our opponent here. So, obviously we're going to scout the Daedalus, send him to reserve so he's a target when the Disciple does its thing. Roll a 6, so we get our boost. He gets a boost, don't care about that, because he's going back to reserve anyway. And we get to trigger Nevenka. Cop and Anchored, which is incredibly lucky, 1 in 6. Pretty mad. And we get our Daedalus back as well. So far we've kept the 1 character that we've played out on both turns. Going to be 3. We've got all the cards back that we've played else otherwise. So this guy's nuts. 1 mana, put everything back in hand if you roll dice. Could have advanced here if we'd played him on the other side. So this game is a little bit closer than it should be. Realistically, we should be ahead. We draw a Keytarist and a Twinkle Twinkle. Not too worried about card advantage, but it will be good to keep around because we've got a expedition that's strong for him. We've got plenty of 1-drop effects to do, so we send the basis to hand. Now, they drop a anchored character, not one that's super high priority, but they do have 2 cards in reserve that they are probably happy to get rid of, but they have the tough 2. So we make a decision here and we actually drop the Off You Go through the tough as a way to fight on the following turn. So getting rid of Little Mouse there, not that big a deal. We'll Nevenka back the Off You Go and get the mad 1 in 6 chance again of anchoring the Disciple. So if you're keeping along here, 1 in 36 to get those 2 anchors in a row. Got a reason now to Daedalus instead of Magical Training, because it keeps extra boosts around for the next turn, also where we're strong. So we were just planning ahead. Still everything back in hand. Anything that we haven't put in mana, we still have access to. And we're just way ahead on cards. And we've actually got a better presence because we didn't let them anchor with the Mowgli. Draw 2 cards. No sabotage, disappointed about that, but we did get the Mage Dancer here, which can be a big deal. Obviously, ahead on one side means we're incentivized to stack the other one. And we'll play out the Magical Training. What that does, obviously, sees another card, but it actually sets up so that the Mage Dancer is eligible to get boosts whenever we roll dice, which is going to be a big deal. And they play out the Yeti. Interestingly enough, didn't want to play out the Mowgli. I guess they thought we'd just hit it again, and we do have the option to hit it with the Off You Go, but given that they've shown weakness on this turn and we can hit the Yeti next turn and still have it not impact the board, we're going to make a different decision this time. So Martingale forces the issue in terms of what they want to play. They gain 2 boosts, one from the Robin itself and one for the Yeti. I remember being confused about that, and since they've decided they're going to contest, we drop our Mage Dancer. Die is 4, get the 2 boosts, and then we have the choice here of boosting with the Mage Dancer before triggering the Disciple, so he gets an additional boost. We send the magical training back and see what they want to do. They decide to pass. Well, magical training, we're still going to have the opportunity to anchor something. We choose the Studious Disciple, get a 5. Now that's a 1 in... With the Martingale, that boosted to a 6, so we actually had a 1 in 3 chance here. So 1 in 36 times 3 is, if my math is correct, 1 in 108 chance to get all 3 of those anchored. Gain another boost, which doesn't matter, but we get to recur the magical training again. Finally, something of ours stays in reserve at the end of the day, but they're both really good cards and definitely worth it. And we're ahead on the double advance here. Get to keep the Disciple around once again, Martingale and Mage Dancer. Definitely options to play, and we are flush with choices. Off you go into the Spindle, looking less appealing now that they've got more options, and they would just be able to replay the Yeti again. So we're just going to fight on stats. I think I play this turn a little bit poorly, but we always start with the Martingale, especially when it's strong. Drop a Moona Signet, and that can be any number of things. 3 expeditions, so we'll get one of them, but both of their woolly backs represent 2 power because of the Yeti. So we're really going to have to push to get any sort of advantage here. I'm thinking about charge, obviously thinking about another creature which will absolutely threaten us. Discard the Moona Signet and give something anchored. Had we kept the Off You Go, we'd be pretty comfy here. 4 plus whatever else we can fit on the board would be good, but we'll play it slow. They play an Auron, so we were thinking about charge. Notably not charge, but has the charge effect for all the animals. Doesn't hit the Druid, but now we know they can't do anything else. And we know the brief. 5 mana, can we get there? Mage Dancer is going to be really good. Daedalus also a way to boost for 1. I believe we did the math while we were hanging out. So we get a magical training into reserve to add an extra boost for the Mage Dancer, and we'll play that out. On the companion side, pay the 1, only get the singular boost, but get the additional 2 boosts from the die roll ability. Put the magical training back in hand. Could have chosen not to do that. Reason being, it would be extra boosts on the Mage Dancer, and then we can bounce a bunch of stuff. But we scout the Daedalus like we planned. Roll a 1, so all of our bad rolls are happening when it doesn't matter, or when we've got the Martingale in play. Gain the extra 2 boosts and block them for a 1-for-1 trade. Bounce the Daedalus back. Have another go. And I think at this point the boost from the Mage Dancer would have been a blowout, so we try to keep that one around. A lot of stats that don't end up mattering. So we just skip through and we get all 3 of our cards back in hand. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards available to us, plus the 2 that we see versus the 3 that our opponent get. We're in a pretty comfy spot here, very flexible in terms of what it is that we want to do. We choose to play slow because we're afforded the opportunity by playing however many magical trainings it is that we did this game. I have genuinely lost count. We'll just drop the Incaster. We have a target for the Nevenka and Blotch here. They play out the Auron on the other side as a way to block. Balances out both of their expeditions, kind of ensures that they're going to advance on the other side, but because they're tapped out and we know exactly what we've got in hand, we should be able to math it out. They pass. Nevenka and Blotch targeting the Mage Dancer gets us a 5, so 2 more boosts. We only need to hit 7 here to advance, which we do off of Daedalus on its own. And we just magical training to get through, cycle through the cards. Ain't no big, we're happy giving up a 1 for 2 there, because we're so far ahead, still have the advantage. Get to return a card, so we choose the magical training. Could have picked Daedalus as well, obviously without the disciple around. Sad. Not as easy to recur, actually impossible to recur. So the extra card off magical training and the after you effect as pseudo tempo is good. We're strong on both sides, so his extra boost would be good, but we'll get rid of him anyway. Incaster reducing costs. Immediately rewarded with 2 more Daedaluses. Daedalus. It's like octopus. Ends with a US, so it's an I sound. I'm going with Daedalus. They sabotage. Get rid of the Mage Dancer. Disappointing, but that gives us the opportunity to sabotage back. Get rid of the Yeti, because with no cards in hand, they're only going to be able to use 2 of their mana. And we are basically free to do whatever we want here. Deciding to anchor instead of using the caregiver, they might have been able to play it out first and then given something else anchored, but I'm pretty sure they know it's a lost cause at this point. Play out the Daedalus, roll a 2, end up 1 behind on the Tanuki side. Do the exact same thing again, which gets us ahead on the companion side. Ties off, and then we may as well just try and boost for the disrespect. So the reason I wanted to show this game off is that it does show something we didn't get to see in the regular old 3 games. The Daedalus and magical training loop with the Studious Disciple is good. I'm going to try and find a card to upgrade the Cloth Dancer with, and that is target number 1. If we can find something at a reasonable price that returns cards when we roll a die, we'll probably do that. Yeah, sorry, this one was a brag, but yeah, we nailed it. Look at that, 1 card in reserve versus 2 in reserve and 6 in hand. Love to see it. Alright, we're done. And we're done. 2-1 record with Nevenka and Blotch. 3-1 if you include the recorded game that I played on the toilet today. Probably too much information. But it's nice to know that we've got play against Sierra and Sigismar. Sort of just out-muscled Siggy in terms of the number of cards that we had in hand. Maybe they drew poorly, maybe we drew well. Don't really know. Gonna need more reps on the deck to know for sure. And probably dodged a bit of a rough matchup with the Sierra and the Brassbug Hive. Had 2 outs, kept them in hand, but had to use them for other things. Thankfully they didn't follow it up with that hive and lost to Rin and Orchid. A lot of luck in that game. Sort of showed what happened if everything that can go wrong early does go wrong in terms of the dice that you roll. But you can't be fearful of that when you're playing this deck. You have to know when to push your advantage, when you can avoid it. And maybe we put ourselves in a worse spot, but that's risk versus reward. Obviously, we got a lot of luck back in the bonus game that I played on the toilet. TMI. But this is a hella fun deck to play. I love it. Seeing the Disciple loop with the Daedalus is cool. Seeing the Mage Dancer get really big when you've got stuff in reserve, also really cool. Eris, I think, is suspect. Just a big old investment, and perhaps you're better off playing the rare version if you are going to fall in on her. Lyra Signet, I don't know how I feel, especially given that we've got the Bouncer. The common copies do feel slightly better because they actually put something in reserve. Obviously they can put something else in reserve, and the Signet at rare does that too, but it's nice to know that you've got that surety when you play out the Disciple of being able to bounce her, even if you miss on the resupply. Twinkle Twinkle was huge in that tiebreaker game with Sigismar. Still pretty suspect, but I think it has a place. Just gives you an out if your opponent does play any spindles or any sort of toughness like that. Like if they try to pop off on the Carrier's Intervention, if we'd had the Twinkle Twinkle in hand, might have been able to still do something there. But yeah, that's the deck done. If you've got any suggestions, or if you would like to see that version that uses more of the Ouroboros and Wayfarers, let me know. Got a couple things in the pipeline for the other formats that have come out as well, so you'll probably see those over the next month. But did the math, if we're only playing 3 games a week, that's 150 games a year on camera, plus whatever else we can eke out. And if we've got, say, 8 heroes that we can play on a rotation pretty comfortably, you're really only seeing the heroes like 4 or 5 times a year. So maybe we'll do more of those things. Maybe we'll increase our upload schedule. Don't really know, but things to plan, things to do. I'm really excited for the year to come. Hopefully you stick around and enjoy what you see. And if you don't, the like and subscribe buttons are right there. But apart from that, nothing else to talk about. See you there. Love your work.